Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what we think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button, I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will not miss another video update. And if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's the first place we go to notify you of what's going on in the crypto space, so definitely well worth checking it out in the description down below. Okay, let's jump on into this then. So here we have Cardano paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. Now there's a few things here worth noting. This one's actually old, so I'll go ahead and remove this line because this one's not needed anymore. But what we do see here is this kind of structured move to the downside. In fact, I'll get rid of this -1 for now as well. Okay, we had this kind of three-wave structure in yellow with a sub-wave count that's looking like this. However, these are all still very valid, and I want to walk you through what's going on here. We also have the 200 EMA here as well, just as a reference point. Usually a 200 EMA is used as to help us understand whether or not we are in a downtrend or an uptrend. It's used by forex traders, stock traders, and things like that. It's well known. It's not something as simple as maybe like simple moving averages and stuff like that, but nonetheless it's an exponential moving average. 200 is used as your trend filter essentially. Now when we take a look at this, we can kind of see that yellow ABC structure taking us down towards this 1-to-1 ratio at 30.48. That one's still valid because we have not come higher than this area here at 31.99 cents. Okay, so because we're lower than there, that's still a valid count. The white count however has changed. We've had this scoped out at 30 cents on the low side. And actually this has now moved up progressively to this area here around the 200 EMA, and is going to change where we think things are likely to go next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily remove that, remove this, and remove this one. Okay, so now we end up with just this yellow structure. So now what we want to do is we want to understand, what happened in here. It looks like we went down in 5 waves, if you ask me. It's very difficult to see right in, we grab an arrow, right in here. We had this wick that we moved up, and I think we then moved down. But what we'll do is we're going to jump down into the 5-minute chart just to see if we can confirm that. Yeah, there we go. So we can see it right there. We came down, we moved up, we came down. Okay, so that basically is the end of wave 3. Beginning of wave 4 and the beginning of and the end of wave 5, sorry. So if I go ahead and draw this in, it would look something like this, and it's very, very quick towards the end there. Okay, so when I come back to our hourly chart, it gives us an understanding that, okay, it looks like we went down in 5 waves inside here, and then we started to move on up. Now, that's important because we need to understand whether or not we are to expect to go down in 5. We started this sub-wave count with 5. We should end with 5 waves. We can't just have 5 waves at the beginning of a structure. That's not how Elliott wave theory works. You can't just have random 5-wave movements. So what we want to understand is, where does that 5-wave come into play? Now, it's possible that maybe I'm overthinking it and overcomplicating things, although technically this would be a more complicated wave count if I were to think of it like a kind of 3-3-5 corrective structure in here, right? And we'll to look at it like this. Okay, so you could look at it like that and think, okay, well, possibly. And if that is the case, then this here is our A wave, this is our B wave, and we've still got a significantly lower to go. So there's always options here, lots of different ways of thinking about our wave counts. But what I'm doing here is I'm saying, okay, well, this looks like we kind of moved down in 3 waves right in there, and this one at the moment looks like we've come down in 5, we've got to go up in 3, we've got to come down in 5, right? So I'm thinking something like this. And if this isn't making a lot of sense to you guys, do join us down in Discord. We have got a PDF which is 181 pages on how to understand Elliott wave theory, and I have created a video course that will be out shortly, probably within the next week or so. So do join us in Discord if you're interested in that, and you can learn Elliott wave theory, all the different subcounts, how to draw it, and all that kind of stuff from the video course as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what our expectations are on this. Okay, so bearing in mind that we have this current high just here, then this actually takes us down very close to that 1-to-1 ratio that we already had marked out, but this time it is indicated, I'm going to make this yellow, 30.34 cents. So if I go ahead and remove that, you can now see this 1-to-1 ratio actually hovers between these 2 yellow lines, and that gives us our sub-wave count here of A, B, and C coming in. Now, obviously, we've got to bear in mind the momentum. Okay, so at the moment, actually, there's a bit of correction going on, even though we're going sideways here on this momentum indicator. This actually tells me that we're probably going to have to push up a little bit higher, and that will actually lift our lower end target a little bit higher as well. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if we do go up higher than 31.99 cent, this dashed line here, then actually we're done. Wave C was complete down here, and it would have been that subwave count of 335, and our ABC structure is not quite where we thought it was. Essentially, it would mean that we kind of would have a C wave structure like this ending over here, and I would still look at it as a giant A wave with some kind of B wave upwards and then some kind of C wave down later. And this because it comes in at some of the higher time frames that we still need to have that corrective action. Okay, so although we've had some movement to the upside, which is pretty much just driven from retail from what I could see, nothing too positive there at all. Specifically when I think there's a lot of noise around golden crosses and things like that, but actually it's absolute. Yeah, well, I'll leave that to the Bitcoin video that I do, because that doesn't make any sense to me, and I'll walk you through why I think that later. So, yeah, for ADA here, it looks like there's a possibility of pushing a little bit higher, but we are finding that the 200 EMA is our resistance line at the moment, and we still have more room to the downside, essentially. Now, as I come up into the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're overbought. In fact, if I just bring up our stochastics here, you can see that we're overbought on the 4-hour chart. The 8-hour has had a lot of progression to the upside, and it can still go up higher, right? And at the same time, because the stochastic RSI and the RSI does not actually relate to price. It doesn't dictate, the price has to go up. We could still see the momentum completely get wiped out very quickly. So just keep that in mind. It has got progression up here, could go to overbought, and it can move very, very fast. Likewise, it can just reverse from here. On the 12-hour, it was oversold. It's moved up a little bit, so that's pretty positive. We've got a lot of upward momentum here on the 12, the 16, and I believe the 20-hour, but the daily obviously still has loads of progression to the downside. So across these different timeframes, do expect some volatility. I'm not saying that we can't move up. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely that we move up without having significant corrective moves at the same time. So in the case of Cardano here, I do think that there is some positivity. There's definitely potential to the upside, but I do think before we can really move up, we do have to see these corrective structures complete, so that we can actually move in positive directions without the worry of actually seeing kind of traps and stuff being pulled. So yeah, so that's kind of where things sit with Cardano's ADA at the moment. I do think we're likely to see a little bit of rejection here, and maybe if we're lucky, a little bit of a push above the 200 EMA. I'm looking to keep us below 31.99 ideally. That would actually then allow us just to move into this completed range. If we do break above there, that's not the end of the world. It does mean that we will just have to kind of adjust our count here to allow this to be the bottom over here on the 7th of December. Otherwise, everything else should still be following the macro plan, which unfortunately is for Cardano's ADA a little bit of a drop to the downside. And we are, of course, looking at anywhere between 27.35 and 28.67. I'm going to leave this video right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.